GM.
GM, this one took us a few tries, didn't it? It seems every time we tried to open up a spaces under everyone's accounts, Elon was blocking us from running it back. But yeah, sorry, Bunsey, there's a bit of audio background or echoing on your end. I don't know if you want to fix that. But we're certainly feeling the bloodbath of the market. It seems like there's quite a lot of people on CT that actually, to my surprise, started to flip bearish. If you guys can just give me a thumbs up, maybe thumbs down, if apparently there's some echoing or repeating, but if it's good, we're good. Yeah, we're good. All right. Yeah, to my surprise, there's quite a lot of people that actually flip bearish on the Bitcoin price itself. Starting to see more and more posts saying that we're going to 74K. Surprising, but not so much. I'm still extremely long, possibly long, and irresponsibly down bad as a byproduct of that. Yeah, if you're feeling some type of way, I am most definitely feeling worse. Despite that, I think I'm just far too bullish in the longer term outcome of Bitcoin, and my time horizon for this ecosystem is not just a quarter, it's not just a year, but it's about what we can do with it thereafter. You really just need, I was talking to Robert from Statflow and even like Matt from Arch. You don't need 50 to 100 dApps for an ecosystem to be thriving. I think you just need 5 to 10 really good builders that understand what they're building for, understand the ecosystem, understand the users very well, and bring fun into play. And if there's no opportunity for new builders, new creators of ordinals or runes or meme coins, then we're basically at a standstill. So it's all about pushing the boundaries and making there infinite opportunities, as there should be on Bitcoin, for newcomers to come in and don't necessarily feel like they're doomed to fail as a byproduct of that. But look, I think for the time being, moods are definitely soured. Bunsey, how are your bags holding up? Because mine are most definitely hurting, but I sleep very well at night holding everything that I'm holding. I'm not selling. Nothing is listed, quite frankly.
Yeah, I stopped checking my bags, dude. Got a little hectic. No, but I mean, I could see it. I saw that post that you were referencing. I mean, going below 90K, I can just see the timeline just completely getting super panicky. But I do think that this is just a correction, and with the inauguration, I just don't see too many more bearish sentiments. I see the market flipping green like around the 20th. And now both markets move in parallel. I'm just waiting for that to really form any type of real opinion. But until then, I've just not been trading as much, but I've been looking at that Dow fund or whatever thing more and more. And it's so fucking crazy. Like it's it's pretty interesting. The project R&D terminal, I know the Omakase team from the 2021 DeFi run and been chatting with them a little bit, learning more about what the hell's going on. And yeah, there's a lot of money moving in the AI thing, but I do think that's gonna cool off a bit as we already starting to see that. But
Yeah, actually, let's talk about that for a little bit because I think we had eras of euphoria.
yeah,
Back in like early, when was it? Probably early Q1, Q2 range when Bitcoin was around 70K and consolidated. I believe was the time when we had the massive meme coin euphoria rally. And so that's when like meme coins were all the rage. And then after a while, they weren't. And over the summertime, they definitely weren't. But things started to flow back into quality and into communities. And I think those are the ones that certainly stand the test of time. In a similar way, like over the last maybe 2 months, we've had this AI meme coin. Let's call it AI meme coins because that's really all they are. Like this is not the future of AI in most cases. It's just AI experimenters dropping tokens to whatever agent they want to build, and it's interesting. I think some of them certainly can do very well if they have mind share and attention, and there's a lot of builders that are building really interesting use cases around it, particularly virtuals as a launchpad of choice. It's the AI coin launchpad, much like Pump Fund was for regular meme coins. And so these platforms accrue a huge amount of fees, and it's no surprise that they're trading at such high valuations or FTVs. Then again, like virtual is at 4 billion. Was that a little crazy? I maybe some of these AI meme coins at 100 mil market cap for just being an automated X account, probably a little crazy, but you know,
Probably.
look,
Dude,
they
it's super. Dude, the best parallel is the metaverse, dude.
sure.
Like, people would say it's easy to grasp a narrative that's, oh, this will be the future because there's some tangible things that you can draw a line from point A to point B of this will take over gaming, this will be where we'll live, all these things. And people took that to a very far extreme and started selling pipe dreams. And, with AI being capable of doing some really cool stuff, but at the same time, people are selling these like really elaborate like use cases that just aren't proven. And a Twitter account getting automated tweets like is far from what a lot of these accounts or these teams are now promising. So I'm getting like that vibe. And when that much money moves with no true delivery, like you start to see these like retracements. The DAO thing is pretty interesting. That much money getting thrown into, I don't even know. Even the people throwing money in don't even know really the like parameters around like how, if these, what's capable of these teams with their treasury. Are they able to trade that? Can they just send it to a Coinbase account and
Well,
just like dump it?
yeah. Look, I think the reality is these treasury wallets, they can do whatever they choose to do. Like there is no governance around the DAO address per se. So there is no
Dude, that's just fucked, dude. It's just like,
well, what are you gonna do?
I know it's the trade off, but then it's just all right. Shit goes sour. Dude has a bad day. His girlfriend breaks up with him. He sends it to Coinbase and goes buys it. Like,
Look, I think at the end of the day, the treasuries for a lot of these things are just so low that it doesn't really matter too much. Look, there's this one guy who runs it. I like him.
just say it,
I,
farmer.
I,
What are you about to
I,
shill, dude?
look, he's a puppet. 0x Jakey. He's just a great trader. Like he started this DAO called Left, and he basically raised like 40 grand in his DAO. This wasn't a meme coin. It's just he ran it as an investment fund, an on-chain investment fund called Left Curve Capital, and he's actually been like one of the most highest performing DAO hedge funds out there. Like he's 10x his portfolio over the last like month and a half or whatever it was. His, let's just call it his investment token, this DAO token, consistently trades like a DAO token should, like close to its net asset value. Sometimes at a discount, sometimes at a bit of a premium. But this is the model for a DAO. Of course, you can DAO anything you want, but you can DAO hopes and dreams up. But kind of how we get to this highly promotional view. But look, at the end of the day, like an investment DAO has quite a lot of merit to it. And because there are so many in the trenches individuals, there's so many ways to spin this off. A DAO can create its own kind of tokens within it where the DAO holds, let's just call it 5 or 10% of the supply and runs like, you can have a meme coin DAO that just spins up meme coins all day long. And if there's really good executors out there that can create content, that know how to promote a token, that can create high quality socials, high quality memetics, I think there is actually quite a good amount of merit. Now, spinning up like one of these DAOs just as nomenclature memes, I'm not going to say there's dumb things, but like they're
That shit
pretty,
bangs.
yeah, they're just memes. You got Crypto Haze with an AI, and let me just look at that one. That one is, let me take a look at that. You got
Why
Haze.
you look?
Actually, that one's not too bad. That one's up 10x over its AUM holdings, but it's still trading at 4x now, right? So yeah, look, at the end of the day, like a lot of these things remind me of the DeFi era and DCF God when he started to do this risk-free value acquisition of treasuries, when they were 50%, sometimes even 70% at a discount. And he would acquire so much of the supply that he would push a governance vote saying, hey, look, like you got one choice here, distribute all proceeds. And then that's how you create value. Obviously, there's many ways to do it, but that was his like mantra trade in the bear. Just acquire things that are deep discounts to treasuries and then work with those teams to either reduce the valuation gap or distribute the token supply. I think Temple DAO is one of his most recent success stories. I wanted to get Charfu up here too. It's been a while, buddy. How are you doing? It's you were semi-retired and unretired. Like you're like Jay-Z. You retire and unretire every 30 days. What state of mind are you in right now?
I just do whatever I want now. That's beautiful. But like you guys are like just like disgustingly bearish. Like I hate to see it. It's disgusting. You're not. Do you guys not remember how retarded it went like last bull run? Like, do you think like this bull run is like weaker? But what's like your thesis? Like, what
No,
the?
look, I think we haven't even hit the pico retardation cycle, right? Like,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They're gonna go so much higher. It's yeah. I don't have to necessarily like it, right? But people are rather gonna play around with this shit and invest in this shit because they see legit builders than just static memes. I do believe there's gonna be like memes that are gonna yeah just kill it. But in general, I think like this is better. I think
yeah,
this is better.
I'm a big holder of AI. I just generally like the account. I like the attention that it brings toward it. Yeah, I think Charfu, I don't know if you agree with me, but we're probably gonna have like consolidation from like the super shitters into the stuff that actually has some level of
Yeah,
substance, sustainability. That's where I think we're at over the next like 30 to 60 days in like the AI agent. The things that just don't work and the things that are like of very low quality with a dev that was grifty and whatever.
yeah, sure. I
Um,
mean, it's like the
there's probably
first
going to be
wave.
like $5 or $10 billion coins. I
Yeah,
don't $10 billion coins. We're going to have it in AI. There's going to be something out there over the next year.
you're gonna have like probably like infra, like AI
Infra,
16,
yeah,
like virtuals, like those guys are gonna get like crazy. I think like those are like 10, 20 billion coins, right? And then AI agents can run like I don't know, like 1/5 of them, like the top ones, something like that. I don't know. That just like rough what I'm thinking. But yeah, there's like interest in my infra. Like there, the demand is there, and they didn't even get like any text spot listings yet. Like it's a while they ran
you're
so
right.
high without
Yeah,
like any.
I was actually looking at that. I'm just like, look, like everyone thinks that runes need centralized exchange listings to get these sky high numbers, and I think the short answer is you just need demand. Like you just
Yeah,
need people to care. And look, centralized exchange listings, like if you can hit 1 billion on chain sustainably, some volatility here and there, and then you reach the masses from a centralized exchange listing, I think you're
exactly.
basically like you're gonna be a top coin at that point.
Exactly. Like the like I just was like looking and like the market share of like on chain like DEX versus TEX is like growing like rapidly. It's the market share like the other day was like 22% was like on chain trading. Like I think like top of the bull run we can have 50-50, which yeah, could get crazy. Right. And then like you have the complete narrative shift because like people are working to like on like it's easy to onboard a person today to like a dex as it is to like a sex. There's not much difference. There's like very little difference today, so it's just like a
Yeah,
matter of
so this is a really good point. Is this cycle, centralized exchanges are actually not as important as the last one because I've been following this team called DeFi app, and they're trying to build a front end
yeah,
solution of onboarding omni-chain intense-based orders. Not really dissimilar to I think the direction that Magic Eden can go with the Magic Eden wallet. In a similar way, you can fund your Magic Eden wallet. It's very easy. It's just an application on your phone, and then you can trade on any chain freely and actively. Right? What is
yeah,
really the point of a centralized exchange right now for the average retail user that's maybe having $500, $1,000, maybe 2 or 3 thousand bucks over just to dabble? I actually don't think centralized exchanges are really that important. Now, centralized
mm,
exchanges are extremely important for on chain crypto hedge funds, right? Like a crypto hedge fund wants to make a $200,000 position, $500,000 position. It's very hard for them to one build that position with some level of anonymity towards it because that's important. You don't really want to be a top three holder, and as soon as a top two, top three holder of any single token starts selling off, that's scaring the whales off, and you're hurting yourself in the process. But also, crypto hedge funds, they do care about hedging positions and being long short at times, and so those types of financial products are necessary, right? And I think once you have that for $1 billion tokens on chain, well, then we're looking at pretty extreme outcomes thereafter. It's just the market is just at a high level, at a macro level. We're really delusional sometimes, by the way, because we just live on chain and we think the on chain market is the market of the whole world. But it's not necessarily just the crypto market that's been bleeding out. It's the tech industry. It's the US market. It's the European market. It's the euro. It's the pound. Like all markets are getting screwed over to some degree, but long term higher, right? It's long story short. But
Yeah, 250K.
yeah, I agree with that. I saw Jay Pagler's post today and I'm like, dude, 2026, you're forecasting 130K Bitcoin. Are you out of your mind? Bitcoin goes up by 20%, 30% spikes in the span of a week sometimes, right? Like it has these moments in history where it just climbs higher for sometimes unknown reasons and sometimes really important ones. We still have the FTX distributions, which are $10 billion. I was reading a little bit more about that, but we also have a 6.5
What are some
billion.
timelines on that?
Yeah, it's a good one. So I think everyone to claim your amounts, if you're not I think what is it? Were they Bermuda, Barbados? One of those two. If you're not a resident of or maybe the Caymans, no, sorry, Bahamas. FTX was based in Bahamas. So if you're not based in Bahamas, you actually have to go through, I believe, BitGo to get your funds. There is some friction points to get your money, but at the end of the day, it's $10 billion, man. These were like the best on-chain degens out there that were crypto savvy, crypto native. Look, it just depends if this money is going to flow back, but I think a substantial amount of it will certainly flow back. It's just a matter of time, right? That's a pretty damn big stimulus package.
What was this shit I was hearing about, like the Silk Road wallet and the government and all this bullshit? What is like what's
Yeah,
going?
so we got a bit of a scare, similar to when Germany sold off. I don't know how much they sold off. Let me just see. Germany
Free
sells
bill.
off.
Free bill.
Was it 3 billion? Okay, so
Free bill.
when the German government sold $3 billion of Bitcoin in July, Bitcoin price. Let's see how bad it was.
It like barely had an
because the
effect, right?
Germans have a great history with their economy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like when that happened, you basically had you had a lead up of declines towards that announcement of about 17% or so. I think at this point we're down from peak of 12%. Maybe we blip downwards over the next week to high 80K Bitcoin, but like beyond that, I think it's just all going to get priced in at this point in time. Like it basically causes like pessimism in the market for, I don't know, like after Germany sold it off, you had a solid 2 months of pessimism. Let's call it from their sale date. Yeah, it climbs 21% after they said they sold. So classic crypto, dev sells, price goes up. So as soon as they do that, price is going to go up, something like that. So look, I think just it's going to take maybe a month or two for sentiment to reset, and then that's actually pretty great timing for the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Do you think the Trump inauguration speech is going to change anything? If he just mentions BTC, do you think it's going to go through the roof?
So that's a good take. So if you just look at the markets, like equity markets, when Trump is a candidate or was in office, you had high volatility in the markets because he's just so erratic. And when he's erratic, the markets are erratic because they just don't know what to price in. And so the time.
And that's why you need a stable coin, right?
Oh yeah. Look, we ain't stabling up, Sid. We're not stabling up at all. We're BTC longing at all points in time. But look, for general transactions, of course, stable coins make quite a lot of sense until we have hyper Bitcoinization take place in the world and throughput Bitcoin payment transactions.
Yeah, I'll see you in 2,000 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, I'm certainly not that pessimistic. I think we're probably closer to 10 years out from that possibility, I'd say. But I appreciate what you guys are building at Bima. Yeah, just going back a little bit, I think the timeline makes sense. So we have maybe 1 or 2 months of pessimism, and then maybe Arch mainnet comes in. Maybe we have significant UX advancements, DeFi on Bitcoin at that time.
What's the latest, Nick? Yeah, any updates there?
Yeah, let's get Nick to opine here a little bit, and then I wanted to get Victor's take because he's been building rune stacks, which is at this point a very simple product, and then they have a Runes Launchpad as well that I'm sure Victor can get into that I think is maybe changing the way that we're thinking about launching tokens. But Nick, do you have any takes on Maybe mainnet, maybe some alpha here for us.
First, I'd like to say that I'm with you guys on, I think we're all in the boat where we're long-term believers because my bags are heavily down as well and enough to make me cringe a little bit. But also, the nice thing is I feel no pressure to sell because I know what's coming around the corner and I do believe it's going to be bullish. So, super excited about what the future holds. There was like obviously when you're in an ecosystem and you're working with projects, you have to understand that projects are human too. And guys, we got to remember, we're like a few days out of last week was New Year's, right? So we're still in that just getting out of that holiday malaise, right? So this is normal. This is also very normal if you look at the seasonal patterns of Bitcoin until inauguration, everything goes down. So just wanted to put that out there, including Bitcoin assets. We know that's the case. With that in mind, though, we do have a lot of projects that we're excited about that are building, and we've made a ton of progress, I think, even the last week in getting a clear idea of roadmap for them. And we have Bima here, which are of course a stablecoin project, but they're also working with a lot of teams on some cross-platform liquidity stuff, which is cool. We're going to have a prediction market that's really close to being ready. We're just doing the final bug fixes and checking it before we launch it on testnet. We have another DEX project coming on that is getting even closer to being ready. And we have some other fun stuff that is down the pipeline. So I'd say we're pretty close. And I think it's actually going to dovetail really nicely timing wise with the inauguration and having some more apps launching. And then mainnet launch, we're still looking at February. Early February was the goal, and that's what we're looking at. Obviously, things could change. We're pretty bullish
Can you
on
launch
it.
on my birthday?
What's your birthday?
Can you launch on February 8th?
February 8th? Okay. Was Aquarius season? Do we have any zodiac sign believers here? Astrology
No,
believers
no, no.
here?
I don't believe in space racism. Yeah,
No, yeah, no
space
space
racism isn't for me.
racism. No, but if you're not a pups holder, I may have some views on you. Meme coin racism. Yeah,
That's entirely
stay
valid. I've
tuned.
seen Pump Fun. I've seen Pump Fun enough to see that there's more than enough degeneracy.
That's right. That's right. Some of the things that we're like crossing our fingers and throwing our belief in. If I just twinkle my toes and say something, pups.
Click your heels 3 times. There's no place like Bitcoin. There's no place like Bitcoin.
That's right. That's right. I think just for Bunzi, we will do at least a fake launch on the 8th, and then we'll see if we actually launch before or after that in real life. But yeah, no, we're pretty confident and happy to hear from RuneZex and some others here.
Let's hear it, Victor. What do you got for us? Because I think there's certainly some people that are always hesitant to deposit into, I would say, a semi-custodial or partially custodial solution. Yeah, would love to hear more about that. Any documentation that you're planning to like provide, any sort of updates, traction, liquidity, farming opportunities, maybe to deepen the liquidity pools to make on-chain trading much more seamless and I would say simple for the newcomers that hopefully don't have to use runes, blocks, and splitting to make their trades happen in a few months. I certainly hope so.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, like in general, my opinion on runes is that we're going like up and down and a little bit more down and more up recently, but just because we still don't have enough infrastructure to consider runes as a real Bitcoin DeFi. And when I'm saying infrastructure, it's not just indexers, but it's also dexes, it's launchpads, Arch network guys are doing great stuff to help us just to do some like a new version of multi-sig stuff better, easier with some programmability on top. And we are working on that front as well because like as the only way runes will go up if people will trade seamlessly and will build lots of other DeFi apps on top. So that's what we were focusing on last 7 or 8 months since we started RunesDex and Big.Fun back in April last year when I just found opportunity after building for lots of years in Bitcoin, Lightning, RGB, that like Ordinals and Runes has just bigger
All right,
communities. Yeah.
Victor, obviously you have a history of building DeFi
Yeah.
products on EVM and other chains,
Yeah.
and you ran and still run one of the largest development dev shops out there in Europe, and you have very talented devs, of course, that do quite a lot of things. Obviously, you're coming with pedigree as a builder, and hopefully people can understand that and see that. Obviously, this is like one of your babies, of course, as someone that you created from scratch and want to provide value add and solve a problem in the ecosystem. But do you want to touch a little bit more on like big.fun? Because I think a lot of people don't know that it exists, but how does it work? Is it a whitelist? How do you contribute to a potential meme coin offering? And how does that work?
Yeah, Big Data Fun is a daughter product of RunesDex, and when we just started this, we were like, okay, we need to build Radium and Pump Fun for Bitcoin runes. First, because it's cool, and Solana proved that this is working, and second, he is etching and creating runes is pain in the ass, and well, Luminex is still probably dominating this market with a good but could be better experience. So we decided why not people just will launch their runes in a way they launch memes on Pump.fun, because runes in general is just a meme coins. We built the platform where it's actually a custodial platform, just because meme coins, especially at super early stage, should be tradable instantly. So you need to register on the platform. If you want to forge your rune, you just enter details similar to what you do on Luminex, but you can also add some additional fun stuff.
So just going backwards a little bit. So like forging a rune is effectively doing 100% pre-mine and then it launches on the platform. Is that the process?
Yeah, this, and then you can buy from a platform or sell to the platform this token. When you forge your rune or etch your rune and make it available on the platform, you can buy some initial amount just to, as a founder, launcher of this project, you just like buying this, and then I like incentivize other people to come, trade, buy, sell. Once it reaches the bonding curve, your token is automatically listed on a runes dex, similar to what PalmFun and Radium are doing. We decided to have it again custodial, just because like when you launch Rune, when you launch meme, you expect that people will buy and sell pretty quickly, so the bonding curve can move here and there relatively quick until it will reach a feed or will not reach a feed, reach a curve or not. Yeah, if you guys familiar with PalmFun, then experience will be the same. Is the only difference is like on Solana is pretty fast. So pump can be non-custodial. We require you to deposit Bitcoin to your account to start trade. So it's not like a dot swap or RunesDex where you just sign a transaction when you want to do this transaction. But it's like a pros and cons, and pros here is that you can just do everything quick, as meme coiners like to do. Yeah, we launched a working product a couple weeks ago. Did not too much marketing on it, as we've been focused more on RunesDex launch and integration with Xverse that went live 2 days ago. And we will soon start to promote Big Data Fun. But if you guys want to check it out, launch your rune with Big Data Fun, share experience, how it is better or not compared to other solutions you are currently using, we'll appreciate it a lot. And maybe it will be a new standard to launch runes, because it's just seamless. And we're solving multiple problems with Big Data Fun. First, etching rune becoming easy. Then once you etched, the rune become instantly tradable. And then if this token makes sense and reach the bonding curve, where it's become automatically listed on AMM like runes with burned LPs. So you already will have your rune with some Bitcoin liquidity to trade against. So yeah, same as Solana, just for our lovely runes.
Got it. I guess the other part that most people are familiar with, like when providing liquidity, is some level of like points or incentives. I guess, Nick, this might be a better question for you, but some of these builders like Bitflow and RuneStax and others already have a product that is live on mainnet. So any thoughts to giving mainnet points beyond maybe the testnet XP or anything like that could be quite interesting. Not sure if you guys looked into that.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And it depends on the project, right? So you have some products where they are essentially taking their exact same mainnet product that's live on some other chain or elsewhere in the Bitcoin ecosystem natively. And all they're adding is obviously on the back end, creating a more trustless environment through us, right? And that's really powerful. but doesn't necessarily show as much in the UI, right? And so that's probably something that they're going to spend less time on testnet, and then it's essentially just opening it up and having the same user experience. When eventually a project like Magic Eating comes on, it'll probably look more similar to that, right? Like something on the back end and then the UI kind of fix on the front end. Yeah, I see that. That look of, yeah, anyway, so it's going to look like that for some of these stuff, right? Now for incentives and things like that, I think that it's going to be just strategic and tiered. We see this as the ability to steer a bunch of users to the apps and our ecosystem partners, and everyone we've done this with has got a huge increase, of course, in social following as well as actually having users. FunkyBit is in like the 5 million to 10 million range of transactions now, which is really exciting. Saturn has had a huge amount of transactions as well and participants. So we're seeing a lot of activity from projects when we direct that attention. The key is from a marketing perspective as well as a product perspective, what's the value of that attention? And in testnet, you just need a lot of users who are doing the activities and you're directing them towards specific actions. In mainnet, it might be less about the sheer number of users, but how do you do high volume, high value things? And so the tasks will change depending on that. So like right now, I think a lot of it's going to be more like rewarding testnet activities. The points program, when we enter the mainnet phase, probably early February, is more similar to maybe like a Magic Eden points program where it's essentially just use the platform, and the more you transact and the more liquidity you gather. And if you're moving mass amounts, you're going to get rewarded in the points program much more. And so that's how it changes from testnet, where it's more let's steer you to specific actions that are going to test and in a good way break the app to make sure that everything works and expose new problems, to on mainnet where it's more about, all right, let's like move TVL, let's like show high value actions, and let's play with some real money here. And so it's really just going to depend on whether or not that specific project obviously values that, needs that. And we're going to be driving most of the high value activity and turning on the faucet, so to speak, toward those communities and those apps who have shown the biggest commitment to us, right? So if you're building actively on us and you're staying engaged and you're doing all the steps and reporting metrics to us and things like that, we're going to reward that behavior because it allows us to be stronger as a network as a whole.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, that makes sense. I think the testnet is still the place to do the most things, quite frankly. And obviously those that have launched live testnet products are maybe further along than some others, which are considering some of these decisions maybe down the line, of course, once audits come in and once maybe the network materializes and de-risks itself, of course, because I think established builders, I understand, they're maybe not always the most willing to be the first movers on something that's net new.
That's part of the
to the
process
ecosystem.
in terms of there's always pros and cons, right? And so the early people who committed to us and built on us, obviously a major established project that is doing tons and tons of TVL on mainnet already, they can't always take that risk, right? But the ones that do take that risk, people like Saturn FunkyBit who got in early with us, they're taking a bet that, hey, we can be the first mover and create a much better user experience because of Arch's speed and Arch's ability to just transact straight out of wallet and things like that with native assets, and get our own moat before the big players try to move in. The big players don't only just have to have the typical built-in technical infrastructure stuff. That stuff, in some ways, is easy, right? It's actually more of the legal side. I mentioned a project like Magic Eden before, things like that. Major projects, like they just have a much harder legal infrastructure where our security review and our security audit of the blockchain, which every new blockchain goes through, that's going to have to be fully complete before they join on mainnet. It's just not going to happen before that. No major project like that would do that. But you're going to have to complete that. You're going to then have to have their lawyers and their security people vet it. And so that's why you see projects like that where they're not going to immediately jump in, but once the concept is proven, like it's a no-brainer for a lot of these projects.
Yeah, sweet. No, that totally makes sense. And obviously looking forward to that. Any suggestions on anyone who's been listening here that hasn't played around with testnet? What is the best way to get testnet BTC or testnet 4 BTC these days? And I believe Xverse is rolling out testnet 4 integration this month, maybe in a couple of weeks, actually, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's something that I've been hearing about Xverse, and they've been in talks with us. We've been pretty close to them. Same testnet faucets that we've been promoting. I would say that you can also mint stuff through like the Bound faucet to get Bound stablecoin. Also, Bima is building a Runes stablecoin, which I'm sure will include some sort of faucet. that you'll be able to access. So those are the main things. Shout out to FunkyBit that is launching their meme coin launchpad next week. Actually, is what I'm hearing. You've probably seen some tweets from them, but starting next week, we might have some fun activities around that. So there are going to be a couple of different ways to access testnet tokens, things like that. It's definitely an improved experience since the beginning. As I believe we were probably the first major project to test and really put testnet 4 through its rounds. Lots improved since then.
Sounds good to me. That's exciting. Bunsy.
Victor, could you say respect the pump? And maybe we can get some rune action going. I really think that would help us out. I think if you just respect the rune pump coming from Victor, and then I think our bags are good.
You, Bunzi, that's what I'm working on. Buying runes from a market and onboarding actually more guys.
Just
Dude,
say it like you
please, dude.
respect the pump.
Respect.
Okay, respect the pump.
Oh, let's go!
All right, guys. See you next
Oh my God,
cycle.
let me check
See you
my
next
bags.
cycle. All
Let
right.
me check my bags.
All right. See you next cycle,
Oh
everyone.
my God. Sell. Oh my God. See, Victor, I think you got it all wrong. Like, 2 turbo, like, goated dev. I think you just got to go on YouTube and say respect the pump for runes. And then, dude, that's like the best tech you can get, I think.
All right, Victor. What? One more time. Like say, let the pump be with you.
Okay, let the pump to be with you. Got it.
Let's
Oh, come
go.
on.
Good enough.
You
We're
gotta
so
hype. You
fucking
gotta
bad.
We'll
hype us
take it.
up. You gotta hype us up here. We're excited about runes. We gotta save our bags. We gotta get
Guys,
more LP.
you
We gotta
know,
get more trading
Dude,
volume.
I'm feeling
yeah,
better,
only
dude. I'm
pump,
about to
only up.
fucking buy way more runes, dude.
Guys, only pump. Just like more bitcoins should be onboarded to this like fucking exchanges to buy all these runes and just pump us up. So I'm working on it. I'm
Bro,
working
all
on
you
it.
gotta do is record a video of using rune decks and just fucking respect the pump, dude.
Okay.
And then it's over, dude. You'll have too many users, Bitcoin will moon, and
But
it's
chief
GG's.
marketing
If
officer of RuneStacks all of a
Dude,
sudden.
yeah,
all of us, dude,
copy the
actually,
first what I will do tomorrow. Okay,
all right.
I will tag
So
you.
then the checks in the mail or my bill or whatever it's called, just send me runes, dude, and then I'll dump them on my Uber drivers. It'll be fucking lit. All right, so we're respecting the pump. Victor's saving the whole ecosystem. I really think this is possible. And yeah, what do you think about that, chart food? Do you think respecting the pump is? I think chart food respects the pump the hardest.
It's the only way. It's
It's
the only
the
way.
only fucking way, dude. It really is. Dude, if you don't respect the pump, you never get the reversal pump and you never get everyone buys at the price they deserve. So respect the pump and we're gonna be okay. The inauguration is gonna respect the pump. We're also going to get DeFi into
It's like the old
Bitcoin. Capri Sun
It's like
respects
the
the
old
pump,
Capri
dude.
Sun. Yeah. Respect the pouch. Respect the pouch. You got to
Did you ever
rebrand it. You
blow
make some
into the
juice
Capri Sun
boxes.
and let the like
No, I was so scared as a kid because I thought I was gonna turn into like I was gonna like
did
blow
you ever
up. And like I saw the
wow.
advertisements and stuff, and I was like, dude, if I abuse this like plastic pouch, I'm going to explode and become like one of those like plastic inflatable waving arm flailing tube
And
men
you
from
turned that option,
like
you turned that opportunity down. That would have been sick, dude. I respect the pump, dude. I went for it. But
respect the pump, respect
yeah.
it.
Wow, my day just turned around, dude. Thank you, Victor. I'm like, I was looking at these charts all wrong.
You guys hear me?
No, you're like in a Capri Sun pouch that's not opened.
I can't hear.
Yo, respect it, man. Respect it.
No, if you want to try to drop down, we can bring it back up. But I respect the PFP. Super schizo. Let's see. So, Victor, I want to hear more. Is this what's the fun, like dot fun? Everyone's releasing a dot fun something. Oh, lit. What up? Nice voice.
Yeah. And nice to meet you all. So, what do you think about meme coins on Bitcoin? So, it's from your perspective. So, it's very interesting because meme coins on Bitcoin is like what? Because we like first pump fun on Bitcoin. So, yeah. What do you think, guys?
I can respect it. Victor, is this the same thing or am I tripping?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I think
exactly
that's just Victor's
Peter.
alt.
Dude,
Yeah,
there's
one of my guys just joined, but yeah, let me just tell them about this. So,
Okay.
all you really got to say is respect the pump, the TLDR,
respect
just
the
like,
pump.
right, dude,
Man,
done.
look, I just
Explain.
tweeted. I just tweeted.
I
Respect the
know, I
pump.
understand the product
Yeah.
way better now. It self-explained. Just all you gotta do is say respect the pump, dip, and just go to 100 spaces and say that. And bro, you're about to fucking moon. And then yeah, dude, just send me some runes, and then we're good.
Okay. So, Victor, do you tell more about Big Fun as well for our auditory or not?
Just respect the pump. Respect the
Yeah.
pump.
Yeah, you're getting it,
Okay.
bro. You're
Yeah,
getting it.
definitely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
respect the pump. A big
You
pump.
gotta no one cares
LFG,
about the
guys.
intricacies of the product as long
Yeah.
as price is going up. That's
Dude,
all.
that is the most reality. That's the hardest truth. Like
Nice.
we're over here.
Because
The
in one day
the
we
throughput is going to be pretty good, and then let's just, dude, shut the fuck up. Is it mooning or not? That is the best tech. Is respect the pump. That is the best tech. It's the
Okay,
only.
okay.
It's the only
Yeah,
one.
yeah, it's def. It's def. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Because in first day we can like our first meme on big dot fun reach out and bonded curve on our platform. So yeah, it's totally huge because yeah, not else platform for launching memes on our platform. Yeah, and Bitcoin as well. So yeah, we are going to be huge. Yeah, guys.
Respect the pump.
See, dude, bam, bro. Just
Yeah.
every VC meeting at the end of it, just say respect the pump, and then just bail. And then, dude, they'll FOMO so hard. They'll just,
Okay.
dude.
Yeah. Okay. It's nice. It's nice comments for this. I think Victor or David they can explain more about the big fun as well
The
because
only
it's huge.
explanation we already did. Explain the pump. That's it. The guys will find everything
LPG
out.
guys, LPG, yeah, ape and etc. It's all the explanation that we need at all.
Amazing.
Your tagline for Big Fun is serious memes, serious chain. I don't know. I don't know. Bunzi, do you like serious memes
What do you
or
mean? There's not. There's, dude. All memes are serious,
It's
dude. Are you
not
kidding?
serious
There's
memes,
billions of dollars in
big
this. This is
memes,
very
guys.
serious, dude.
It's
Respect the
big
fucking meme.
memes,
The only
big
serious meme is
memes
actually
on
Bitcoin.
the biggest chain on the crypto ecosystem at all. So yeah, we have like it's huge. Yeah, when you see in Pornhub, BBC video.
Hitting it, folks.
Yo,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
what your
yeah.
suggestions are, your preferences
I
are.
don't need to explain what BBC meaning. Yeah. So if you in this space, like you can check it out of yourself. Yeah, guys.
Dude, he
So
is pumped. Dude, Victor, whoever you got is just giddy. It's happening. Dude, tomorrow I have Murad on a live stream and I'm gonna shill him fucking mad runes. And I just in the tweet I was like, respect the pump. And I'm gonna have to talk to him about how to respect the pump tomorrow.
Yeah, BBC to my runes bags is the TLDR, I think. Yeah, Matt, I know you said to let. Yeah, yeah. I think. All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. No, so long story short, runes decks, Victor, you guys have more recently integrated with experts, and so you don't really have to even go to app.runesdecks.com, I think, or one of the two, to actually trade these things. And one of the nice parts is whether you're using DotSwap or RuneSex or Saturn in the future is you don't necessarily have to split your runes based on your orders. Yeah, how has the TVL been? Like, can you walk us through some of the stats so far? Are you guys? I think a lot of people outside of experts maybe don't know that they can trade runes on RuneSex. Of course, it's always going to be easier if the TVL or the LP size is larger, just to make the slippage something that's much more appropriate, especially. But yeah, I guess how are you guys trying to tackle the LP promotion campaign, or I guess what should we be looking out from you guys over the next 2 or 3 weeks or yeah, just to increase the depth of the liquidity for these tokens?
First of all, we're respecting the pump, but like speaking about the numbers, we launched 3 days ago, and actually it was pretty successful launch. We gain 5.6, between 5.5 and 6 BTC in TVL, between 29 liquidity pools. Most of the money, obviously, at Dog, but thanks Farmer for providing some liquidity for Pops. And we are very close to Based Internet Pandas and Organic Bitcoin and Coinbro Beer guys. So those communities also provided some TVL just to have it on the platform. And somehow, for example, we became probably the biggest market for pandas with $44,000 in TVL, which is a pretty good example, especially having the recent update of DotSwap and partnership of DotSwap and Billion Dollar Cat, where the community moved 1% of their supply to DotSwap to make it as a main market. So we want to do the same with other communities. So if you guys are building any runes projects, please reach out to me. I'm happy to do some good collab and make runes decks as a primary market for you. But what we have now, we have 5.6. I'm just opened a dashboard. We have 5.6 bitcoins locked in TVL. Our daily trading volume is currently is 0.77 BTC. Yesterday it was 1.3, 1.4 BTC, something like that. So just 25% from what DotSwap has, and which is pretty good for a project that been just launched 3 days ago, actually in a real production mode. We have the same business model as DotSwap, 2% fee that charged 1% in BTC, 1% in runes, 1.6% going directly to LPs, 0.4% going to the platform. We also launching LP incentivization program next week, which will work as a point system that will be then converted to tokens, and we will do airdrop somewhere between end of Q1 and end of Q2, when we will actually do a token generation event, and we'll go to Texas and all good stuff like a solid projects are doing. So we actually decided to provide a huge amount of tokens to early LPs, and it will be 7% of all network, especially for guys who will join between now and mid end of February. They will get like a 3.5% compared to, and other will get additional 3.5%. So if you guys have some runes bags that are just like laying down and you want to make some good yield, please join us. We are growing pretty well with experts integration, and it is not just only one integration we have on our backlogs that we're working on. So more volume will come. We're also onboarding other ecosystems, whales to come to runes and trade runes, because we show them a massive arbitrage opportunity between different markets. We show them how actually runes community is active, how it's engaged. I'm pitching to everyone that runes guys are the same as what I saw during DeFi summer of 2020, which actually excite lots of Ethereum DeFi players, and I'm helping them within Boosty Labs as my consulting company to onboard to Runes. And yeah, and Runes Dex is in the middle of all this ecosystem we are building around it, including Big Fun and few more products that coming up. So yeah, I think it's a great time to LP now, because we actually need LP. Our capacity to process transactions is already on limits, and to not produce a huge price impact for every swaps that coming to the platform now, we just need to increase TVL at least 3 or 4 times. So great opportunity to still make 100% APY plus. On some tokens like Panda, you can even make 2000% or something like that. Was yesterday when just like people were like, oh wow, okay, so there's AMMs that support internet pandas, okay, let's trade it. So it was like a 2% 2000% APY, which was crazy. It's highly risk asset compared to pups or dogs, but still lots of opportunities we discovered in runes, and we just decided to place it all on runes deck.
I think it is quite a bit interesting for some of the smaller cap runes, right? If you have a solid founder or a solid team behind of it, or just a coordinated group of like-minded individuals that understand where things are going, it is quite interesting or even possible right now to build the LP to be equivalent to what we see on other chains like Solana, where you have 1 or 2% of the liquidity pool live on chain. Once you get to that level of, I would say, tokens, thereafter, it just becomes a much more seamless exercise for those who are coming from Ethereum or more performant chains like Solana to one, acquire the tokens that they want to hold, of course, and then sell them when they do want to hold it. I think it's very interesting. I think we all expected DEXs and AMMs to come on to Bitcoin. Obviously, we still have constraints at 10-minute block times, which kind of introduced some level of friction. But it sounds, at least the direction that Bitcoin has taken is because things are slow, things don't necessarily move 10 times in a single second. So the fees on Bitcoin are basically making up that delta in a lot of ways where we're still used to and willing to pay 2% transaction fees for most things, ordinals and runes on Magic Eden, and even like runes on DotSwap and RuneSex, of course. I wanted to just jump into, actually, maybe that's it. I think that we really covered it. But yeah, Matt, like, what's our next hockey stick? I think we missed that question. What is our next hockey stick for the market recovery, inflection point of Bitcoin in general? Yeah, what's going to save our bags in your view? We need more interested parties. Like, we need to make Bitcoin exciting again. Like,
it's got to be like the network effect that results from connecting all of this now newfound infrastructure together. Like, it's great that we have AMMs now. That improves the liquidity profile of runes. It's great that we've already had borrow and lend through apps like Liquidium. But if you go to other ecosystems, it's like all of them are connected together, either through a global state mechanism on Ethereum or cross-program invocation and a system of accounts on a Solana. There's like a connective tissue between all of the applications that constitutes DeFi. And that really compounds on each other because you can do more interesting things. You could do hedge strategies, you could do perps, you could do one of the apps that is launching on testnet next week is a VIX token for Bitcoin. So traders can actually take advantage of some type of hedge strategy, mitigating volatility essentially for their bags that could negatively impact their equity value. So when you plug all of these things together and you plug them and integrate them together, now you have a much more fluid and dynamic ecosystem for capital just shuffle around. And that's ultimately what we want to see. That's how trading ultimately makes like profit opportunities for people. So right now it's just far too like peer-to-peer and slow, and there's not really an opportunity.
Speaking of like capital formation, like one of the early things that generally starts to get built on any chain is these like community launch pads. Is anyone building something like this using Arch tooling yet?
I know the Ordinal Wallet guys. I don't know if Harry or any of them are on the call right now, but I know they're building some interesting launchpad type stuff, and then also like they've been known to just continue to iterate on new ideas once they get a hang of new ecosystems. And that's really what they're doing right now is they're learning. So they started by building a wallet for Arch, and then they went to and dove into the token standard, the token program that we call APL, the Arch program library. And they're starting to do some interesting things with that. Yeah, there's going to be these community launchpad, token launchpad type of concepts. And then now they're looking at ways to integrate AI into that. So I think you're going to just constantly see more iteration and more evolution of things that we've been familiarized with on other ecosystems. And that's really what's going to be available to us for the next couple quarters here on Bitcoin. So it's exciting. That's our next leg up.
Yeah, it'll definitely be cool to see some of these launch pads start to come up. I think we need better, I would say, launch pads for tokens, be it something like BigFun and other experiments that try to do that. I think once we have that, we have whitelist token launches of anything, be it meme coins or something. Who knows, like what's going to come about. AI agents on Bitcoin as a launchpad. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put it past the Ordinals Wallet team.
I think Farmer, someone's building that already. Actually, someone has it built out. AI agents on Ordinals.
On Ordinals themselves, like the more recent. That's actually interesting. I didn't know that was happening. I know there is this like new meta of having an NFT collection, and each of the NFTs that you mint is an independent AI agent. I know some of the teams that are building this on T's as well. Would love to hear a little bit more if more about that.
I don't want to shill anything on Space. I DM'd you the project though. He's a good dude. I've been talking to him since Runes came out.
So I don't know the name of the project or if this is even the same one, but I was speaking with the virtuals team and they told me about the ordinals project that's being built on virtuals right now that I think the purpose of it is to assist with the launch of tokens and it helps everyone get the same price or something. So I don't know exactly how that works, like whether it's a market clearing price managed by the AI or something to that extent. But yeah, there's lots of experimentation happening right now leveraging this AI infrastructure. I also know a Bitcoin Startup Lab project that's called Saitoshi, I think, and they're building more of a virtuals based Bitcoin centric rails for AI as well. Really interesting to see what comes out of that stuff.
Yeah, I also just wanted to ask real quick because I've been following Arch Network for a while, and I haven't tapped back into ordinals and runes for a hot minute. But from the Vermelia Milady side of things, like our network was slow to get into ordinals, I feel. And then when runes came around, like we had a few projects launch, right? Or derivative, whatever you want to say, like derivative projects. I don't think any of them are actually official, but like people from that network launching runes and whatnot and pre-runes, right? And one of the concerns was like that I kept hearing was that the dream, so to speak, or the vision of the runes protocol wasn't being realized, right? And a few people were like bitter about that. And I was telling them it's going to take time, right? It's going to take time to implement runes the way that they're supposed to be implemented so that they're not just BRC20s because that's what they basically are right now, right? Because you have to sell them in batches through centralized exchanges. And I was just wondering, and Victor, maybe you could answer this, being that you're with RuneStax, is RuneStax a centralized AMM, or have you guys figured out how to do on-chain AMMs? The sort of, I know it's a huge issue given the limited programmability with Bitcoin, but I've been looking for native AMMs for runes for a hot minute, and I don't know if anyone's made a breakthrough in that yet. Trustless, permissionless, etc.
Yeah, sure. First of all, we are definitely on-chain AMM, but we do a custody of liquidity pools, and then it just comes down to how you structure the security stuff around handling private keys, how you do multi-sig, or Arch actually also good solution that we're also considering to decentralize custody over liquidity pools we have. But there is no on-chain AMMs in a way you're describing, just because of lack of programmability, and probably I don't think that like we will see any of them, because I don't think that we will need them. However, I was thinking about combining some Lightning and RGB Lightning for transactional execution on RGB for programmability to solve this kind of issue. But even with that, it will not be 100% on chain, because Lightning or RGB is L2s. The short answer is no. It's impossible to build on chain AMMs that will be fully trustless and non-custodial on Bitcoin, just because of lack of programmability. BitVM probably will change something, but not too much. So but while you're trading on RuneStax, it's from a trader perspective, it's actually non-custodial and still on chain. So the only custody risk we have it's on LP side. That's why we highly incentivize them. And that's why we actually invest most of our time, money, and development resources in building this like a security related features to prevent any vulnerabilities and things like that. So yeah, for traders, it's fully on chain, fully trustless, because you have your Xverse wallet, which you use to sign up to initiate a swap. At the end a transaction failed, you will get your BTC or runes back. If it will be successful, then you will get what you were expected to get, because those parameters are inside of the transaction you initiated through us while you signed this. So yeah, so it's hybrid, and it could be only like this. I know that this is bad and shit, but we try to find a ways, and the only way probably is to do just marketplace. If you use, for example, like a hash time lock escrow contracts, and you can place an order, specify what you want to get in exchange, and once you find a market match, then your order could be executed. But it's not exactly AMM. Potentially, maybe you can program it in AMM way, but it will be so ugly, and it will be even less efficient than what we have now with all these exchange desks that live on Bitcoin runes. That's why I'm super bullish on guys like Arch, to be honest, because this could solve lots of problems, but it will not be exactly on Bitcoin L1. So there will be some pros and cons, but even those pros and cons can be fixed with a great UX. So experience will be seamless, and at the end, if you're buying or selling memes, who cares where you're buying them, on a Bitcoin L1 or on L2? If the experience for you will be the same, it will be just interaction with experts, but you will tap not on one button, but will tap on another button. UX is a key for Bitcoin, I think, because just building lots of tech hacks could just bring us to something like a Frankenstein type of a software that will be not efficient, very expensive. And so when you usually build like something like a so big and tech advanced, it opens lots of windows for hackers, and they will look for vulnerabilities, because bigger stuff you build, more mistakes you can make. So that's why we're trying to actually, even in runes decks and big fun, make everything so simple that it will be just easy to review and find if you failed somewhere before we deploy. Yeah, it will be long and short answer to your question.
No, that's a really good. That's very fulfilling answer. So if I have like devs who want to work on Bitcoin on specifically ordinals and runes, I should be sending them towards Arch Network and runes. Is runes deck in partnership with Arch Network? Is that the deal?
Yeah, we are very good friends with Matt from Arch, and we are exploring some projects to build together. Because besides Runes decks and Big Dead Fun, I have this a huge army of 150 devs at Boosty, and we are also incubating some ideas. And so when I discovered Arch technology, it was like, oh wow, okay, it's actually solving lots of problems, and could be solve some security assumptions we were thinking to solve with a decentralized multisig, but just why we need to build it and then maintain and then have those node operators of Arch can do it for us. So yeah, I would recommend actually like Arch as one of the solutions to make Bitcoin DeFi experience more trustless. You can also build on Bitcoin L1 if you don't want to have another layers. You just need to make a business decision. And but maybe like in the next couple of months, Arch will integrate with Xverse and with some other wallets in that way that, well, who will need to build on L1 if the experience will be the same on Arch, right? Yeah, but I think like you can still do both. It just depends on your business goals and on your on users you have, how they appreciate to use Bitcoin L1 and wait like for 10, 20, 60 minutes till transaction will go through, or
No, I'm on the same page as you, Victor. I've been harping on the whole UI UX and abstraction, tech abstraction specifically is going to lead to mass adoption. And there's issues with that, whatever, like abstract chain is not really the most secure or cypherpunk chain, right? Given how they don't encourage writing down your seed phrase or even having one, but it's a stepping stone to mass adoption. And I appreciate that for what it is. And I think that Bitcoin needs to, with ordinals and runes, needs to get there. Because I have my own little schizo theory about Murad, about how I think that he's like a harbinger, right? What do you call it? I guess harbinger is good. He's coming in and he's maybe backed by certain people, right, who have an interest in Bitcoin, and I think that he's going to bring the attention that he's spun up on Solana and Ethereum with meme coins and NFTs back to Bitcoin, into ordinals and runes, late cycle. That's just my theory. And I think the reason for that would be getting retail interest and volume and liquidity into the most precious asset in crypto for VCs and hedge funds and et cetera, investment funds and banks, which is Bitcoin, right? How do you make Bitcoin sexy? you fetishize it, right? You make NFTs on Bitcoin. You make meme coins on Bitcoin. It's I don't need to explain this. This is I think that no matter what is actually going on, I think that we all agree that's where things are going to probably go. And we're not going to get there. We might get there, but we're not going to get there as effectively unless we abstract away some of the hassles of Bitcoin, of processing on it. I think Xverse wallet specifically has done a wonderful job of that. And then Magic Eden's wallet is also following in their footsteps. Make it with the Taproot wallet and segregation and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I'm on the same page. I just want it to be, and I think a lot of people developing into this, especially Remelia and Miladies, they're more of like art. They're about the art. They're about the memes. They're definitely about the tech. There's tons of cypherpunks in this sort of Remelia eco or network, but there's also a ton of artists. And they just want their art to get out there. They want retail to be able to buy it. They want to make it as seamless as possible. So I'm definitely looking into, as you were saying, like layer two solutions and whatnot. I think layer two layer two is an abstraction layer. So I think layer two on Bitcoin will definitely lead to a lot of ease of use for retail. And I'm not looking at it as a bad thing. I think it's just one of the adoption layers, just like Apple made the computer friendly, right? They took away some things like that early computer users and those guys like didn't, but they also made the computer a household device. And that's what I think we're trying to do here is make Bitcoin a household device, if you want to, or a household technology, right?
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree with a lot of those takes, actually. Murad even said it. He likes Bitcoin. He sees the early inflection points starting to form and build. I think, Bunzi, since you're interviewing him tomorrow, I'd be curious to see if you can add this maybe to his question list to see if he's open-minded to seeing what the Bitcoin ecosystem could look like. I know his take is that most of the attention as a trader is on Solana and the aged liquidity and the aged wealth of Ethereum has a lot to do with tokens performing very well because it's really where a lot of users find themselves to be at home. And then the integrations with fiat on ramps and so forth, they all tie into Ethereum and Solana more than they do the Bitcoin ecosystem. Like if you were to say to someone like, hey, you can buy this token on Moonshot, that's Solana and that's fiat as well. But we don't really have a very seamless way, at least at this point in time, to get onto the Bitcoin ecosystem. Bunzi would love to hear if you can ask that to Murad, if he's at least curious to, or at least optimistic for the Bitcoin ecosystem to develop and thrive over time. But Zeno, Dal mentioned we're pretty early into this, and I think the reason why we haven't necessarily gone so far is because one, everyone seems to be doing very fragmented development activities. We're not really coordinating. We're not taking the Apple approach of taking things away at this point in time to really force people, force users, force developers into a specific direction. And I think when you start to build the fundamental pillars of composability, and that's recent post had mentioned, certainly I think we can get a lot further once we have composability between some of these products because then you start actually growing out the pie of opportunity, the pie of development, pie of what you can do. Because I don't think most people want to build a lending app, and most people don't want to build a DEX, but we do require those things on chain for every single other piece of building to work, whether it's a launchpad. Like you're not going to launch anything if you don't have a tradable environment. We certainly have to solve like the fungible token trading equation more than anything else. I really think that's like the biggest problem on this chain. We can't solve for the block times. I think that's a much bigger problem to solve for, but we can find ways to build around that. We can, trade within the mempool like Saturn has shown as an example, and then we can hit the 23, 24 order in mempool transfer restrictions. We can go back to the core devs and say, hey, look, this doesn't really fit right here. Let's expand it. Let's make it 50. Let's make it 100. Let's make it 200. And then maybe let's make it unlimited at one point. And then I've always had this theory that Bitcoin technically has unlimited block times within the mempool, unlimited throughput within the mempool if you can index the mempool fast enough. So if you can index what's going on in the mempool at infinite throughput, infinite speed, and settle transactions at a 10-minute level, that seems pretty damn close to at least having something on this chain. And I think we're pushing that boundary, but it's been like it's been a slower grind. But I think that the key thing here is that not to lose sight that we're all building on Bitcoin. I think the optimism certainly isn't fading, and I think that's what keeps us here on a day-to-day basis and even holding some of these bags, because we think there could be a newfound wealth creation effect here over the next year or two. It just depends on how long we have a cycle for, and maybe the cycle is very long and long-winded and extended, such that we can realize all of the on-chain development, this newfound opportunity, and capitalize on it as early believers.
Yeah, said by all. I think there's a lot that can be gained by some of these newfound functionalities. And Zeno, to round out Victor's point, I think he did a really good job of explaining the state of where we are with respect to AMMs, but this certainly applies to creator tools and artists and things of that nature. For the broader majority of programmable functions that we're trying to get onto Bitcoin, it's just a fact of the matter is Bitcoin doesn't do it. And AMM, especially because you need to calculate state changes so fast that Bitcoin just wouldn't allow for this. It doesn't matter if there's Bitfium, it doesn't matter if there's Opcat. Like, certainly you can vault things trustlessly, but you're not going to be able to do like the actual AMM computations needed on the bonding curve and everything to end up actually doing it the way that it's done on other chains. So there's going to have to be this element of, and I like how Dan Held puts this, like an augmented reality goggles for Bitcoin, where you're engaging with something else. You're doing something else that's off chain of Bitcoin, and then you're putting it back on Bitcoin as quickly as possible. And I think that we're starting to get to the crux of what the correct implementation is utilizing this, because you see this with DotSwap, you see this with Saturn, you see this with RunesDex. They're all virtually the same implementation, all just with varying degrees of decentralization. But just to break it down more simply, liquidity providers, they put on the virtual reality goggles, and they have to take on additional trust assumptions saying like there's another world here that we're interacting with. But for the other people, the takers, the people that are swapping against the liquidity that's in those pools, they just sign a PSBT. They're trusting Bitcoin. They don't have to trust RunesDex. They don't have to trust DotSwap. They don't have to trust Arch or Saturn or anybody else. But they're the beneficiary of now this newfound programmability that has the performance and has the capabilities that Bitcoin didn't have before. And now if we're taking this over to creator tools, I think that there's a lot that can be done with ordinals, right? One of the major reasons, in my opinion, that we can't get major mainstream digital creators in Bitcoin is that there's no royalties. There's no way to actually make any money. Try going to a Jack Butcher who's making millions of dollars on royalties on Ethereum and try to convince him to drop a ordinal collection on Bitcoin. And you can convince him that it's the best medium in the world because it's there forever. It's totally trustless. You trust Bitcoin, you know, IPFS linked to some server on Amazon or whatever. Like, that's all great. But if there's no business opportunity, or there's no programmability on Bitcoin, it's almost a non-starter. What about the guys that specialize in this whole medium, like generative art, like on art blocks and other things like that? Like, that's not possible on Bitcoin. Random reveals on chain is not possible on Bitcoin. Everything has to be centralized in order to do that. But over time, you can use these sort of augmented reality goggles of Bitcoin and interact with networks like Arch, where you can do more programmable things, trusting a validator network that does proof of stake and all that to properly decentralize the risk. But you also get something out of it. You get this new layer of utility or a new layer of value or performance that ultimately is going to take us into that next leg up of user adoption for Bitcoin that you were talking about, which is like what we're all working on here. And it's hard to see the progress day in, day out. We do this show 2 times a week, and it's impossible to make, significant progress every 2 days. But when you go 2 quarters at a time, like, we've made significant progress since 2 quarters ago. And it's hard to see that in our portfolio values, but that's why we look at this as the biggest asymmetric bet of this cycle, or possibly next, is because when this other shoe drops and when this infrastructure catches up, that's when everything is really going to explode.
That last part, those last few sentences were really well said, and I think hit the nail on the head. Bitcoin is conservative. It is the most conservative technology that we may have developed in the last 50 years in terms of infotech. It literally conserves, right? It conserves information. It does it very well. And so progress on Bitcoin has been slow. It's probably the slowest of any blockchain. And there's good reason for that, right? And that's the value prop of Bitcoin, is that it is conservative. It's not super progressive, not politically speaking necessarily, just in terms of the actual technology. It's not making new jumps and huge, but when it does make a jump, it's absolutely exponential. It kicks the shit out of everything else. And so what you're saying makes total sense. I couldn't agree more. And I think that what you guys are trying to solve is a multi-billion-dollar question. And so I'm not concerned about it being solved. It's going to get solved eventually. It's just a matter of time.
I also want to 100% like a 0 to 1 moment, much like ordinals were. And then Matt had mentioned this before, is we've become this community that is so anti-creator, anti-making money, anti any economic opportunity, quite frankly. It's almost like the moment someone does a mint for $100,000 for an ordinal collection, it's, oh, damn, this guy's just going to rug right after it. So look, at the end of the day, do you like the art or not? Like it can be as simple as that, or do you like this meme coin or not? Like, and then we have this philosophy that every meme coin should be free and fair, and the miners should be the one that all our sats are going to. And yeah, I think once we open up this mind shift from like the end user and even from the retail consumer, that it's okay to build a business on Bitcoin and make hundreds of millions of dollars if you're bringing significant value to the ecosystem. It's okay if you have this massive vision for an ordinals collection and project. Like it's okay to have a fairly high mint price. At the end of the day, the market decides, and you as buyers of these things ultimately decide. But I think being so far against anyone asking for any single sat, especially if they're pushing the envelope with art, with collections, with AI, with launchpads, you name it, I think it's really over scrutinized in a lot of ways. And we didn't really have this behavior in the early days of ordinals where creators were encouraged to do more mints, encouraged to do more art. And at this point, it's almost like we're discouraging any creation of ordinals. We're discouraging any creation of funny memes, AI experimentation. And it's a little bit unfortunate, but I think that there's maybe some vocal actors that have almost psyops us to think that free and fair is the only way on Bitcoin. When if that's the only thing that we genuinely believe, we're never really going to get far along that we create economic opportunities for really talented people, creators, developers, and so forth. Yeah, appreciate both of your guys' takes. I think we got to wrap this up because we're like 25 minutes over, but we also started 15 minutes late. Yeah, you're always welcome. By the way, Zeno Tales, I told Matt to reach out to you if you're serious about building, and really appreciate your strong takes there as well. Yeah, happy to have you up here as often as you like to join. But yeah, Bunzi, let's wrap up the show. If you have some outro music, you do not have outro music. All right. So we're good. We're good. Till next time, I think no show for next week just because I'm traveling and I'll be on a different time zone that's not suitable. But we'll be back after next week. And until next time. Appreciate
Respect
it,
the
guys.
pump.
Respect the pump. Let the
Respect
pump
the
be
pump.
with you.
Pump is with me. Thank you, guys.